Do you actually want to talk about surgery and everything first and how that
Yeah.
went? Yeah.
So I just got back from a trip to North Carolina. I had to go there for revision surgery for my breast implant. My surgery went well. I was really nervous about bringing all of my kids on a trip like that. You know how anxious I was.
Yep.
And I faced one of my biggest fears by doing that. And you know what? Now that I did that, I have the confidence to do it again. I have the confidence to know that I can do hard things. Sometimes when you have nothing but a choice, you just have no choice and you do it.
Sure. And I wanted to kind of get your opinion because this is something that I don't know. I don't always understand the purpose of it because there are things that I could probably do surgery wise to benefit myself. I really would like to fix my teeth and stuff like that. So I guess I get it. But whenever it comes to all of the plastic surgery and everything as a whole,
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like it's unnecessary sometimes. So what was that thing that made it like, okay, I want to do this and take her?
So, good question. So, for me, when I was like in my teen years, I could remember being that girl that would be in school and watching all the kids go up and get lunch and like sitting down with their lunch. I would be the girl that would have no lunch in front of me. I would be the girl that would be pulling diet pills that she bought at Rite Aid out of her purse or whatever and taking them instead of eating food.
Sure.
So I really always struggle with body dysmorphia. I've always struggled with never feeling good enough. Then that continued to just get worse. It was always a self confidence issue for me. But what made it worse for me is constantly being cheated on, to be honest with you.
Okay, which makes sense because I've been there and it
Right.
sucks. Like you feel like you are less than and it makes you constantly feel like that in multiple like you get into the next relationship, you still feel that way and stuff like that. So okay, I guess I could see that.
And then the thing is for me, like when I had my first child, I gained a lot of weight and then I bounced right back. I went right back to actually smaller than I was before I got pregnant. And then when I had my daughter Chloe, I held on to that weight and I started to have DCF involved and I lost my kids and I didn't care about myself. I completely just let Marie go and I stopped pouring into myself and stopped caring. Like I used to be that girl that would get her hair done, her nails done, go to the tanning salon. And always I just felt like, you know what? Like I just held on to all this weight after pregnancy.
Right.
Then about 5 years into my recovery journey, I was like, you know what? I went to a doctor and I went to them for weight loss. And at the time, Ozempic and all these things weren't a thing. So they were like, oh, go on either the Mediterranean diet or go on like you need to go on a diet is what he told me. And I'm like,
Sure,
dude,
sure.
I already know that. Like if I could have gone on a diet, I would have went on a diet. Like I'm binge eating over here. Like because at nighttime in my recovery, I would want to you know, eat like sweets. And
Sure.
I kind of felt like I went and started to lose control with food a little bit.
Did you hit a point where you were like, okay, obviously you know you can try and diet, but did you hit a point where you were like, I want to try and do this on my own before you ever got to the plastic surgery thing?
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
yeah. So what happened was after I went to that doctor, I was super disgusted because I told him I was in recovery. He did not want to prescribe me anything. I was not looking for because they have stuff that's like more uppers, like amphetamines that help with weight loss. He didn't
Sure,
feel
because you don't
comfortable
want to
giving me that. But that's not even what I was looking for.
sure.
So what ended up happening, I got disgusted. A friend of mine she was having a tummy tuck and she was in recovery. My best friend at the time. we started walking together every day because her plastic surgeon told her in order to have surgery, because plastic surgery doesn't make you lose weight, you have to lose the weight first.
Right, right.
So she had to lose 25 pounds in order to get her surgery. So, me being a good friend was like, you know what? I'm disgusted with myself too. I don't like the way that I look. I had no intentions in getting plastic surgery. I just started walking with her. Once I started walking with her every day, I realized, wow, like this really helps my mental health more than
Okay.
anything. And I like the routine of getting out of the house and having like an hour to myself without my kids sometimes. So
Yep.
I started pouring into myself. And then there were days that she stopped showing up and I just kept walking. Once I started doing that, I would do like 3 miles a day. Then I would say, tomorrow I'm doing 5 miles. Tomorrow I'm doing 6 miles. I would push myself to like 10, 15 miles sometimes
Heck yeah. Okay.
because my head would always want to try to beat what I was doing the day prior.
Which is good. So you had all this time that you started walking, you got in a routine, and I'm sure were you noticing some differences? Were you noticing you
So
losing weight?
within like the first 3 months, I lost 20 pounds right like that. Like it just
Hell
came
yeah.
off.
Okay.
So I was almost, so I'm short. I'm very small. I don't think a lot of people realize like when I say I'm 5 foot, I'm stretching that a little bit. I might be 4'11".
Marie's pretty short.
So you have to realize like this is a girl that's always struggled with body dysmorphia from a
Yeah.
young age. And then now I have all this excessive weight on and I'm starting to see it shed. This is like right when I turned 40. I started losing weight, getting into myself, started started cutting sugar, eating healthier.
Heck yeah.
Um, I started like really change, like stop buying like snacks that I liked, stop having stuff like that in the house. And then
Heck
I
yeah.
really did a good job, like continuing to walk every day. And the weight just started coming off. And eventually I bought myself a treadmill because there would be days when the weather would be bad and I would still want to make sure I kept that routine. So I started walking on my treadmill. Then I started to learn to run on my treadmill. And I got to the point where I lost 75 pounds. And when I lost that 75 pounds, I started noticing, like, oh my God, my body looks different. Like, my boobs that I once had were just
We're
hanging
gone.
fucking skin at that point. Like,
So yours was more you did the work, you put in the time and the effort and everything. And obviously whenever you don't do that over a longer period of time, your body can't keep up. So you end up with a lot of loose skin and everything.
right.
And that was originally what you went for. So what made you want like, oh, I need to get the boobs back?
I started to just feel insecure because I always had boobs. When I was this
Mm,
skinny before kids, I always had like pretty much just size boobs. So
sure.
going from this to being completely flat, I'll tell you the real truth. I ordered a Kim Kardashian, one of those Skims bras. I don't know if
Mm,
you know what I'm talking about,
I know what you're
but
talking about.
when I got it in the mail and I put it on, like the reaction that I got from my kid's father was like, ugh. Like, and that right there made me like, oh shit, like I really don't look good. I really don't like myself. And it added to it.
It's not even just how you are feeling about yourself, it's him and the fact that you were cheated on before. And
Right.
okay, so
Multiple times.
that
Right.
makes sense.
Right.
Because I
So
was
it's
trying to
like,
figure out that there are a lot of people that do this, and I feel like not every single one has body dysmorphia, right? There,
right. Not
everyone has their
everyone
own
does.
insecurities.
Correct. Now, I know that my body dysmorphia is pretty elevated because
Sure.
I will say this. I never intended on having a tummy tuck, ever, ever, because actually my stomach really didn't look that bad after I lost the weight. So, what I ended up doing is I got my boobs done around here. She did a horrible job. Um, I had one boob that was all the way up here and one that was down here, and they looked lopsided. You could see a visible difference. And I felt botched. And then I would hear comments like from my kid's father, still too. You know what I mean? Like it just got in my head and it got really loud for me.
And that's kind of my thing is just because there are so many risks. I mean, everything going back what you just did, that was because of one of the risks. I mean, stuff can happen. So I don't understand why people get so like into it, especially whenever like
It's
again,
addictive. I will
right,
say, as someone in recovery, I do agree that it is addictive. So what happened is I went down that one. So when I had my breast augmentation and had the implants put in the first time, I got a breast augmentation and a lift. The
right,
type of lift that the doctor wanted me to get was not the type of lift that I really should have had. It wasn't like, so really, my first set of boobs were super saggy. One was up here, one was down here. I looked distorted. I even wrote in to the show Botched,
really,
right? Because my plastic surgeon at the time was not validating what I was seeing and the
right.
fact that it was really messing with my mental health. She was like, wait until the year mark, then we could go in and do a revision. And at that point, I didn't want her to touch me. I didn't trust her at
Right.
all. She had already did a tummy tuck on one of my friends, which the results weren't the greatest. And then my boobs. So I was like, oh no, I did not trust for her to do it again. So what I did is I did more research and I found a surgeon out of state that specializes in reconstructive surgery. And
Right.
I went there. No, I did an online consultation first, and she told me like, yes, I could fix that. And then I told her, I said, well, since I'm coming to you, what about my stomach? She's like, I could do that too. So I said, you know what? The hell with it. I'm gonna just do it.
Yeah.
Since I had to do it the first time, I paid 13 grand. I lost that money. So then the second time, I had to pay again in less than a year for the same surgery. I had to pay for new implants, a lift, and then since I was already under anesthesia, it would have just been cheaper at that time to add the tummy tuck if that's what I wanted.
What do you do for because the first one was botched? Like you paid all that money, you would kind of expect good results. So did you, I mean, you tried to do the whole botch thing with the show, but can you try and sue her? Like
I
what?
could have probably tried to sue the first plastic surgeon, but I think
Yeah.
right now it's outside. It's honestly that this is the thing. Like it really truly affected my mental health in such a negative way that
Right.
like that also put a toll on my relationship as well. Like I was already half checked out at that point, but the way that I felt about myself and how I felt so insecure, it really put a toll on me. Like, and then I had to get myself out of that mindset because I have daughters. I
Right.
don't want my daughters to think that the answer is plastic surgery, but
Right.
I had no choice. Petty is in here. Petty knows what my first augmentation results looked like. They were not good. I was completely, like, I would say botched, really.
So you get through it, you go in for the second surgery. Were you worried? I mean, I'm sure you did a lot more research whenever it came to the second one because you were like, I'm not having this happen again. But were you worried that something was going to go wrong again? Because it's like if something else goes wrong, I'm never going to get it fixed and it's going to be
Well,
horrible.
I was worried. And this is the
Right,
thing, because I had to pay that money for the first surgery. The second surgery was about double what the first surgery was. And that's in less than a year.
right.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then I started to feel because I'm like, look at me spending all of this money on myself. But the thing is after it happened the first time, if I didn't fix that, I don't know if I could have really lived with myself looking the way that I looked.
That's kind of my thing because I understand your like natural insecurities that everybody's going to have, but I could see where you're coming from because it's like, okay, I'm trying to fix these things and oh shit, it went wrong. And not only did it go wrong, but people are saying something about it. Let me
Right.
try and fix it again.
And the other thing is like my kids, they would make me feel super insecure. And, they're only kids, but like I would be getting dressed and they'd be like, Mommy, why is one boob all the way there and the other one's there? And it would make
Yeah.
me feel so insecure and so ashamed. But at the same time, I had to put on a brave face and be like, listen, not everyone's perfect. Not everyone's going to be perfect.
Right.
And I had to really start to shift the way that I was so hard on myself, if that makes sense. Because I don't want my daughters looking in the mirror and saying like, Mommy's fixed this, she's fixed that. I'm on my third surgery right now.
Right.
I never expected to have, I only wanted to do this one time.
One. Yeah.
The first time I got what's called capsular contracture. That is when your implant, so when you get implants put in, your body builds a capsule around the implant naturally to
Sure.
encapsulate it. So what happened is when you get capsular contracture, you get scar tissue that starts to form and it squeezes the implant up so it makes it distorted and out of place because the scar's tight, so it pushes
No
everything.
pushes. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Okay.
So that's what I was dealing with. Now I knew going into my second surgery that if you have capsular contracture once, that you could get it again and that your chances go up and up with each procedure.
Because you're
So
doing
now,
more and more damage.
right. So I just had pig skin put into my boob. So what they did was is they
Mhm.
took so I'm part pig now, everyone. So, right, I know, isn't that crazy? I told my kids that. They were laughing about it.
It starts getting hot. Do you guys smell bacon?
Hey, good one. Shit. But you know what? It's just been a lot. And so what they did was they put pig skin in. They sew that down where they took the implant out, they sewed the pig skin in it. It's like a little piece of like this.
Just a
They
flap.
sew that to my skin so that it adheres to the tissue so that scar tissue can't form there. It's a barrier so
Okay.
that hopefully the scar tissue doesn't form. So that should make it so that the scar tissue can't push the implant up again.
Okay. And obviously everything so far has worked. So it's I mean, it's all good.
Well, this is the thing. With my first surgery, I noticed it within 7 days. Within 7 days, one boob was up here and one was down here.
We're past that
With
now.
my second procedure, it wasn't until like the 7 month mark. They were perfectly fine in the beginning. At the seventh, I flew down to Raleigh for my 6 month follow up. My boobs were
Right.
perfect. Within a month of my 6 month follow up, it started to go up again.
Why does it take that long to heal?
So
No.
breast implants, you don't usually see your results until a year. 1 year post op. Because when they put implants in, this is what a lot of people don't realize. They put the implants in. When they put them in, they're way higher. They go through a process where it's called like they drop and fluff. They drop and then they start to come out a little bit more, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At first, they're like squares, like that are like hard up in your body. And until your skin starts like soften, that's when you start to see the results.
Well, and I feel like for people that get it all the time, you're doing all those different things and your body's changing so much. It's like, I don't know. And the recovery time and the chance of things going wrong can take so dang long. You could be like, you just did your boobs and then you got your butt done or something, and then like one thing messes up. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't
Right.
know. I, oh.
All I want to tell people is before we switch to the next topic,
You good?
if you're going to do plastic surgery or if you're looking into it, please do your research. If that doctor does not have a social media page in this day and age, that is a red flag. That
Yeah.
is a major red
Yeah.
flag. My first plastic surgeon, no social media page.
Well, especially with plastic surgery because they want to show off their work, so they
Right, right.
pictures.
So why weren't the results shown off? And then when I
Right.
went to her page and like looked at her before and after pictures, this is another thing you have to pay attention to. Pay attention to the doctor's scar placement. I
Yeah.
have seen some horrible incisions and doctors doing things real raggedy. If the doctor's incisions aren't nice and clean and neat looking, you don't want to choose that surgeon.
You know what else I found out about surgeon and everything? So Shan ended up having her like little muscle cut for
Uh-huh.
carpal tunnel. So she got it's the tendon. She got the tendon cut and she went through the recovery process. She just got her stitches out, and then she happened to like talk to the neighbor or something, and the neighbor's mom is she works in the medical field, all that stuff. And she was looking at it and she was just like, the incision is still really, really big. Why did they take your stitches out? And she was just like, it was time to take them out. And like it was still deep, homie. Like
Really?
deep. And she was just like, that shit's gonna get infected. So she went and got some of that surgical glue and tightened it back up. But she said it happens with a lot of surgeons where they're really good at the surgery part and taking care of all that, but they suck at wound care. It's
Yes.
the aftercare that
Right.
they aren't on top of, which is one of the most important parts, in my opinion.
You're right.
I don't know.
Wound care is extremely important. And a lot of doctors, like a plastic surgeon that really cares, is going to care with their how their incisions heal over time.
Mhm.
Like, guys, I'm on my third surgery, but let me tell you something. I was even looking at pictures. My scars look amazing because my surgeon did a good job. And she's gone in the same incisions every time she opens up the same incision. And the way that they heal, you can't even tell. Like my scars look great. I'm impressed with that. But my first surgeon, her scars are all like keloid and thick and crooked and like the ones on the breast lift look horrible. My lift, you don't even see my scars.
So Marie and I have found out that apparently a lot of people have been coming after us and talking shit. Um, talk about my junk, heck yeah. Um, a lot of people have been talking crap about PodTox and talking crap about us in general. Basically saying like that we are harmful because we got off MAT and spreading that message of getting off MAT is harmful. And then other people have been getting like pissed off and jealous because they want to be on Pod Talks and we haven't got them on yet.
We're
First off,
trying our best to get to everyone. We really are.
and there's a shit ton of people on here. Like we're only doing one a week. It seems like there's so much and we've got so many people. We really haven't. There haven't been that many episodes. The
Right.
other part of it is so this whole drama with the MAT and freaking all of it, honestly, we are kind of trying to transition out of recovery stuff. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to never do recovery stuff, but we want to do other things too. And I noticed it in the last one. People were asking, what does this have to do with recovery?
I saw that as well.
Yeah.
I did.
And it's not that we're against recovery. It's not that we don't still like support everybody and try and keep people informed. But the recovery community on here there are so many people that make TikTok their life. And I think it hurts a lot of the recovery community on here. And everybody that wants to start drama and cause all this crap that we aren't trying to be a part of. So we are trying to move into other things. And plus, that keeps it interesting for you guys. If we're doing the same old thing every week, it's not going to be fun for you and it's not going to be fun for us.
Right. We want to expand our horizons.
Right,
PodTox was always meant to be, a variety. It was never just meant to be people sharing recovery stories. We
right.
want to have people sharing about their careers, something inspirational, like different things that people might be interested in.
That's all it is. I feel like some people get confused. The people that aren't in here all the time don't really understand everything that we're trying to do.
Right.
Um, but I mean, like, the recovery community has gotten so hateful in so many ways. I mean, there is a reason I do not really make videos that much anymore. And it sucks because over the course of the last like month and a half or so, 2 months that I haven't been making videos, how many people could I have helped? I probably could have helped a shit ton of people, but it doesn't matter if I'm coming in here every day and I'm not happy with myself because I'm so freaking wrapped into the drama. And
Right.
even while I'm not on here, we're still getting brought into the drama. Like I'm only coming on for Pod Talks.
And that's okay because you know what? We're all human. We all need breaks sometimes. And you know what? Sometimes social media can really affect your mental health in a negative aspect.
It's good to have that break too because then I come on here and I'm more like,
Refreshed.
yeah, I'm ready to
Yeah.
go.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not that like I'm against people or anything like that. It's not like Marie's against people, but it's just better for us to kind of do different things also.
Well, what I will say is I support all forms of recovery.
Yep.
I do. I truly do. Even though I'm not on MAT anymore, I have made I continuously say how much MAT has saved my life. Like, I would not be sitting here right now if it was not for MAT and Suboxone. There's no way. There is no way. But my goals had shifted along my recovery journey. And that's okay. Sometimes people's goals change. You never know what the future has in store for you. I never dreamed of getting off the MAT because I thought it would be impossible. I thought it was impossible.
And Marie and I both did this whole getting off MAT very different ways.
Right.
And it's not like we're trying to promote, oh, no one should be on MAT or anything like that. You should do whatever keeps you safe and gives you the best quality of life possible. And that's all we've ever promoted. But
I look at it like this. We're all trying to run a marathon. We all want to get across that finish line, right? Everyone wants to hit the finish line, but everybody's going to get there a different way. Some people might need to be wheeled across. Some people might need to crawl across. Some people might be able to sprint across. But we're all going to cross that line if we put in the right work.
let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor, Betty. So Betty is a life coach. She does life coaching for recovery. She does life coaching for couples, for just jobs, for anything that you need. She specializes in quite a few things. And she is offering, if you text your name and the code PodTalks, you will get your very first session for free, and it should be an hour session. Marie and I wanted to talk about bullying also, just because obviously we are getting bullied. Whatever, Marie and I can take it, but we're also dealing with it with our kids.
Right.
And I don't even know how to start this because no matter what, it's both just like bad situations and we don't know what to do about it. It's just like Jax, he's been getting bullied for a long time, and it's just part of it is because he just tries so hard to make friends because he is a little behind, like he has learning disabilities and he has ADHD and stuff like that. So he
I
does.
could so relate to that, Kyle. I
Yeah,
can so relate to that with my own son. I'm going through a situation too with the bullying, and it's hard when you see your child getting bullied, and as a parent, you know, you do the best that you can and you try to teach them, but things happen.
part of my thing is with it, like no one's doing anything. Like the schools don't do anything. They don't care. I mean, I feel like you get on the news or whatever, and it's supposedly a big issue that all schools are trying to solve. But
Anti-bullying, right?
yeah, but I don't see any, I haven't seen any results because it constantly happens. And honestly, it's to the point Jax gets in trouble every time because
Right.
and the last time it was on him, but like he gets in trouble because he's just there and he doesn't know how to respond and the teachers aren't helping him. So,
Tomorrow morning, I'm not bringing my kids to the bus stop. I'm
yeah,
driving right to the school. I'm walking them all in the school, and I'm going to have a conversation and get to the bottom of this because what's going on right now with my kids, it's on a level where the police are now involved, and
same.
it's this whole big issue. And there was an incident yesterday where I had the police at my house because of my children, and my son has been continuously bullied by this one person, and to the point where I literally saw him get assaulted. But unfortunately, my son did the wrong thing and he hit a girl,
Yep.
which is not right. And that's something that I have to deal with right now. And, the parents called the police. So now there's like a big issue going on, and I'm nervous because that's not how I raised my son. But he got to the point where he literally couldn't handle it anymore and said that he snapped.
Yeah.
And a lot of this has to do with social media also, because unfortunately, what people say on social media lives forever. It lives forever. You have to watch what you put out there on social media. It can affect your children. And that's what's going on with my kids right now. They're getting bullied for certain things that a certain somebody, the way that a certain somebody says things on social media. And it's bringing issues to my kids, which is sad.
And it's just like, how do you handle that? Because someone said, can you call the parents? So Marie, you're dealing with the parents, and it's a whole thing right now.
Right.
But like for me, we can't call the parents. We can't figure out what's happening, because we're getting all our information from like the police and stuff, and Jax won't give names. He just won't because those kids have told him, if you tell on us, you're getting this again. And is the school did not have their facts straight, and they started spreading rumors about him, which caused a whole big thing. Like,
Which caused him to get bullied even more, I feel
yeah,
like. In
well,
your
it made it so he can't go back to that school. Fortunately, he was going to be switching schools anyways, so it kind of worked out. But he literally had to drop out of school, drop out of soccer. He's going to a school right now that his my ex's mom teaches at basically, and like that's our only option for the moment because that school, the school he was in, spread rumors because they didn't know what actually happened. And then we actually found out what happened from DCFS.
But I have a question. In your situation, I feel like where the school really failed, why did so much time go on before you were even notified as a parent? Because
Well,
explain, because I know more than they know.
right,
So
right,
it's like the school didn't contact it. This was like 6 months ago, right? And you
right.
just found out.
And I'm not meaning to hide it from you guys. It's literally something I cannot talk about on here. But apparently, I just don't understand how no one said anything, like you said. because it happened 6 months ago. There were a lot of people
Right,
around. There was another child involved that it was a serious problem for them too, and it just got out 6 months later. Which, whenever I tried to talk to him and confront him and be like, hey, what's going on? He said he didn't remember some of it, which at a certain point, I think he kind of just blocked it out because it was traumatizing.
right,
Because and like, there were adults around, there were other kids. It's just, it's crazy how little people are responding. And again, he didn't say anything about it because he was told if he did, he's getting beat up. And he does it, and I don't have control over any of it because he's at his mom's most of the time.
right. Like
I
for
don't.
my son, I feel like he needs like a really positive role model in his life. Like somebody that I'm looking into getting him because when I was talking with the police yesterday, they were like maybe get him into like taekwondo, something like that where he can have the thing. I'm going to look into it this week because honestly, what he did was wrong. I what he did, you don't hit, never hit a woman, never.
Yeah,
And he thinks that it was right. That's the
that's
problem. And
that's the
my
hard part.
daughters think that it was right as well. So I got a lot of work to do. But tomorrow, I am, first of all, I'm going to bring my kids to school. I'm going to go talk to the school about it
Yep,
tomorrow. I
yep,
want the guidance counselor at the school to talk to my son about the fact that he even hit a girl and thinks that that's okay.
yep.
And then I'm going to also look into like taekwondo, stuff like that. Because right now, all the little neighborhood kids have nothing better to do but fight with each other. There's nothing good and positive to do out there in the ghetto. Like
Yep.
straight up, I need to get out of here. The playground is all broken down where I live. There's nothing to do. So the kids fight. So the girl has been choking them, whipping him with something. So the thing is, and this girl has apparently been hitting my daughters outside as well. So like, I got a major problem going on right now. I got 13, 10, 8, and 5.
Hmm. And the
And
problem is, the problem is you didn't say anything whenever it was happening to them, but in your situation, I feel like you probably couldn't say anything because you're going to get ganged up on instantly.
right, right.
What are
I
you
got
supposed
my,
to
he
do?
said it, my son said it was self defense. But this is the issue that happened. So as he went, he had like this, it was like a cord, like something like this in his hand. And he went to whip it at the girl, right? And when he went to swing, another little girl jumped in front of the girl, and the innocent girl got it the worst. She got like lashes on her arm. So those parents called the cops. You know, I had like 5 cops in my house last night, a whole big thing. I'm recovering from surgery. So I can't have somebody come and like try to fight me right now because, dude, it's like a lot mentally because what's going to happen? Also, after I talk to the school, he has a psychiatrist. So I'm going to reach out to his psychiatrist. Last month when we were there, I told the psychiatrist about bullying. So
Sure.
this has all been documented from a long time ago with the psychiatrist, at least. So hopefully she could guide me in the right direction for I would really like to have in-home therapy come and work with all of my kids together. But first, they need to do it individually first because you can't come together until you work on things separately.
Solving it at the school is one thing, but I don't know if it's really going to matter getting solved at the school because at school and stuff isn't a problem. It's at home. Part of
No,
it,
he's having problems at school too.
right,
He's getting
right, right.
bullied at school, right?
But that's just one part of it, you know what I mean? So whenever he gets back home, even if it gets figured out there, he's going to get back home and the same thing's going to happen. I don't know, like, short of moving, getting out of that
Oh,
neighborhood.
I definitely need to move. Like right now, my anxiety is on such a heightened level. I got so much going on in my personal life that I'm really struggling. And that's another really good conversation to have because when you're in recovery, especially being medicated assisted treatment free now, I have to continue to be positive and not get it feels rewarding not to want to just run back and just use right now.
Sure, sure. And I feel you. I mean, it's same over here. I don't know, even with all the anxiety and stuff, I don't know that I've like really wanted to. The only thing I've wanted is there have been a couple of times where I've really wanted a drink. Like really
That's
wanted.
happened to me too before,
Yeah.
where I remember we both have made videos about that. Like, I could be somewhere, like, say I'm at like Six Flags or something,
Yep.
and I see like the little beer thing with, there's been times where I'm like, oh, I want that. Like,
No.
but I know also that if I drink, I just always want more and more and more and more and more. Like, yeah.
I know if I drink once, I probably would just that time have one drink and I would be able to call it good. But then I'd make that excuse again
Right. To
after, a
continue.
week or two. Yeah, it would just escalate. It would probably take some time, but I feel like it would escalate. I just don't know. I don't know what I'm doing for the anxiety, and part of that is probably like, I just got over being sick and then I was sick again. I think this is some like crazy cold, but the more stressed you are and all types of stuff, the more your immune system is down and the more your body isn't taking care of itself also.
So when you're super stressed out, your cortisol levels get elevated.
Yeah.
And that keeps you in like that fight or flight mode all the time. And that is how I feel constantly. I feel like this all the time.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of how I was feeling early on getting off of subs. It wasn't quite fight or flight mode. It was like just no matter what I did, I wasn't in a relaxed
Content.
state.
You weren't content, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's kind of changed a little bit. It's definitely fixing itself, but it just all the craziness just makes it nonstop.
And like that's why I haven't been so present on TikTok, like supporting other people's videos because I
Mhm.
love to support you guys. I do. I love each and every one of you. But right now, it's even hard for me to even come on here sometimes because what's going on in my life is just falling apart behind the scenes.
You need like 2 days, just
Right.
to,
I just need some time without the kids, like
yeah,
constant. Right.
yeah. Which I get. I think that I probably need to take a couple of days off. I'm really looking forward to the beginning of June, but it just when you can't reset, it just builds, and you're having one thing happen after the other that are all like you're in a like spiral almost
Right.
because it's all related too. That this stuff is happening because of the previous stuff, and
Right.
yeah,
And
I don't
that's
know.
sad. You
Domino
know, you
effect, I
guys
guess.
have to watch what you put out there on social media. You have to watch when you're in a relationship with someone how you talk about that other person, especially when you have kids with them. My kids are hearing things that they shouldn't be hearing, they're seeing things that they don't need to see, and it's very immature.
Not only are they hearing it, but everybody else is too, which is part
Right.
of the problem. Yeah,
Right. So
I know.
it's like you never know when you put something out there on social media, your videos could be screen recorded.
Hmm.
Like people are downloading them. That shit lives on forever. How do you know that that's not going to get posted on some bullshit like other, you know what I mean? Like people can damage people with social
That's
media
why
also.
that's why we have to be careful what we say on here, and like just even talking about the people coming after us, we can't say a ton about that because then it's just going to get worse. And I'm not on here enough to really pay attention to if people are saying my name. So it's, yeah,
Right.
it's kind of rough.
I just look at it this way. Right now, my main focus is my kids and trying to continue to learn how to navigate being a single mom and doing things to get my family back together in the right, you know, space. I
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
see my kids getting bullied. I don't want to see them hurt. Like, I'm looking for ways to try to for something positive for my son. He needs a good role model.
For sure. A couple of people were mentioning Big Brother programs,
I'm
which
gonna look into it.
those tend to be really good. I know some people that back in the day they were the big brothers in the program, and yeah, as far as I know, it was always a great thing. It always helped. Honestly, it didn't just help the younger kid; it helped the older kids too with stuff that they're
Right.
dealing with.
You're right. That's
So,
no different than like when I come on here and I make videos. I
mhm.
do it because it makes me feel good knowing that somebody's getting something from the video. Like
Yeah,
they're
you're
taking
helping.
something in.
Heck
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it helps me as well. Like I never realized how much posting on social media was going to be helpful to me. Like,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
made so many really good friends along the way. And he's nervous to play sports, but I will say this when we were away, I took the kids to a children's museum, and they had like, you could do like woodworking there. So, like, they had like saws with like wood handsaw.
Stuff
My
with you.
son, like most of the kids were just cutting the wood with the saw. My son was building shelves.
Heck
He
yeah.
built, so I told him, I said, you know what? I would be more than happy to invest in you. I'll buy you a few pieces of wood. You could cut them if that's what it helps him with his anxiety, I noticed.
Yep.
So I said, if you find that therapeutic, why don't you make shelves and I'll help you sell them?
Do like summer camp. Have you, and I know it's expensive, so it sucks. There's a
That's
lot
the
to
thing
it.
right now. So the taekwondo is super
It
expensive.
is. Yep.
The police officer was even like, "Mom, it's like a lot of money." But
Yeah.
I will see what they offer in my area as far as like assistance. Maybe the YMCA, something like that, might have programs for people that are low income, like myself.
I think we were paying like for Jackson T like 500 and something bucks a month for Taekwondo. Maybe it was more than that. It was at least that,
Did
which
he like it?
um I think so. Like I don't know. T doesn't really like anything. He gets into it. I felt like he was more into that than most other things, but
Okay.
he would still constantly, oh, I don't want to do it today or whatever. So it's hard to say. Jax liked it, and I think whenever T actually went, he did like it. So yeah, we did.
Because I feel like they could teach, like they teach like principles of like discipline, correct?
They teach discipline. It teaches self control.
Yes.
It teaches how to work with other people because whenever you're doing moves with somebody, you know you can't be trying to hurt them, but you're doing
Right.
moves on somebody. So it teaches a lot of different things, and it helps with exercise, blowing off some of that steam, and you can go hit a bag for a little bit and blow off some steam. Like I've been trying to talk to T about doing some boxing around here.
So you know how they have those places that like you could go smash stuff up.
Rage rooms. Yeah, yeah.
I actually like my son takes stuff out of the dumpster here and does that. And I don't care. I don't yell at him as long as he picks it up when he's done.
I
Blow off the
just
steam. Do what you got to do, bro. It's free. Hey, it's a free way for me not to have to pay to bring him to one of them places.
I just found out our rage room closed. It
Really?
sucks. Yeah, I was disappointed. It's because it's so much money. Because
Right, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, it's really expensive to do one of those. It's fun as hell, but it's expensive. So I just wanted to mention this. I wasn't sure if you had actually like heard about it at all. So I don't remember what I can say on here. Mary Jane, let's just say that Mary Jane is like being pushed so it's not a Schedule One drug everywhere because there are still a couple places where it is not legal.
So I just experienced this kind of.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wondered if you knew anything about it.
I
It's
actually didn't. Thank you for telling me. So can you explain it so that everyone understands exactly what that means?
so the senators in the states where it is still illegal, uh, they have been pushing heavily, like Congress and everything, to pass the bill legalizing it because it is so useful for medical purposes and for
It is.
the random stuff. And they found that it's not super harmful. Like we aren't getting a whole bunch of DUIs and stuff like that ever since pot became legal. So it's really getting pushed because it can be super helpful. And I don't know. I don't even know why it's still illegal in some places, honestly.
I utilize medical marijuana. That's a huge part of my help with anxiety,
Right,
insomnia, pain. I use it for so many different reasons. It's
right,
beneficial for me. It's helped me even with my post-op recovery because I didn't need to take the narcotics really that were. I still have my oxycodone, like
right.
just sitting in the bag over here, like didn't need it, and it's not tempting me. But with the so I was nervous because knowing that I was having surgery in North Carolina, and I was nervous driving with you know
The stuff, yeah.
right because I wasn't sure because I was going to a state that it was illegal in. Like
The other thing that I don't understand is so much is motivated by money. I mean, it's a big industry.
it
They pay
is,
tax like all hell at the dispensaries. So why are you fighting against that? Well, it's just old school thinking. That's all it
it
is.
is.
Yeah.
I think that medical marijuana is something very beneficial. It's almost like people use it as another form of MAT, almost like that's what some people use. I know that I utilize it on a daily basis and it helps me tremendously.
Heck yeah. Yeah. It's
Like this
thought about it.
right here, this tincture
Mhm.
helps me with my anxiety so much. Even Penny tried this when we were away, and she felt like she was way chill. So, stuff like this has CBD, CBG, CBC, CBN, and RSO.
It's not a crazy thing. It's not crazy strong. It's not going to get you lit up like or anything like that. It's
You know
just
what this does for me? This takes me from about 1,000 with my kids down here.
right.
Like I'm
Right.
and it makes me more playful and stuff. Like, okay, I'll get on the floor and play Barbies with you because I'm
Right.
a little bit more calm.
I'm surprised it's still even an issue. I didn't realize how many places because I thought there were only a couple of states left. I think there's like 10 or a dozen that are still like that where it's not fully legal.
They
So
just need to change it because everybody's utilizing it. Like in North Carolina, when I would go outside to smoke, there was people like, "Oh, can you break me off some?" No, I ain't breaking you off nothing. Kick rocks. Me and Betty were like, get away.
what else we got? Spiders on Mars. That
That
was
is crazy.
so I only got to look at this a little bit, but there was like a telescope picture taken of Mars, and there were supposedly spiders on Mars. I don't know how much of it is true, but I saw it in enough places that I was like, okay, this has to be legit. If spiders are on Mars, we got to get ready for that like Starship Trooper moment. We got to, you don't even know
Take
what
me
that
there. I
is.
need a vacation. I'll go to Mars real quick just to get away from everything.
So there you go. Okay, so if you've never seen Starship Troopers, what it is this planet that gets taken over by all these like big bugs and stuff like that, and
Never mind.
they're going
Never
to
mind.
war with the bugs, and that's so you just gonna go ahead and enlist and go ahead and start blasting some bugs up. I don't know. I
So
little
wait,
5 foot
was it only
marine.
one species of bugs, or was it like you don't know?
I don't think they know just because it was just the picture. They all looked uniform, so it looked like it was one collection of. I'm guessing they had to be decently big for a picture, but
Wow.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
because you have that experience as an exterminator, so you do know about different bugs and animals and pests, right?
I don't know how that would work. I mean, I don't know. I don't see how spiders could actually survive. Obviously, they would have to adjust with water, drying up and all types of stuff because there was spiders on Mars. I feel like we're trying so hard to find life on Mars. This has been a thing for a long time. I feel
Right.
like we've been trying for forever because they want to colonize, because that's Elon's goal. Elon wants to colonize on Mars, and he was like, they're 10 years away from it or something from getting started. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
So, do
And
you think that in our lifetime or our children's lifetime that we will ever see people going up there? Like, what's your prediction on that? I'm just curious.
so see people going up there, I think that could happen in our lifetime.
I think
Um,
so too.
so here's the problem with that though, because you got to understand whenever people first go to Mars, it is going to literally be you are colonizing a new place in a very extreme hostile environment. So those first 80 people that go up there to colonize, it's going to be like living back in caveman times because
Wow.
they have to get everything set up. They're going to have to make sure they don't run out of food. Like if a shuttle doesn't make it with the food that was supposed to be allocated for them, they have to figure out how to survive.
What I will say is, I feel like they need to send people that have been in recovery up there because we are fighters. No, I'm serious. Think about this. People in recovery have a different way of figuring things out.
They do.
We fight and figure it out. And we have different, like, we have like this inside fight that other people do not have. They don't have the same fight as us.
Well, and so because that is very valid, I feel like they could send some people in recovery because they'll think outside the box and
Right. And they'll figure out a way to navigate and get it done.
the other thing, they would have to have scientists, they would have to have engineers, because what if the oxygen system goes wrong and all the engineers are dead? Everyone's dead. So
Right. They would
it's
have to have like a medical professional.
right.
Like they
Yep.
would have to have so many different. But I think that if they could find all people that do these things that are in recovery, it would be successful because
It
people in
could.
recovery fight and figure it out.
I'm just curious of how well it would go. Like how I'm curious how long it would take once they get that group of people up there. How long it would take to actually start maintaining so that they could have a colony up there. You know what I mean? So
It
that
would
people
take
could
time.
disturb their kids. It would probably take, I'm guessing, a couple hundred years, which
That's crazy. I think in our children's lifetime, they might experience something like that.
possibly
Might,
near the end of
might,
their lives. Yeah, yeah.
right.
I don't know, man. It with how the world is now, and like there's been so many talks about nukes and all types of stuff.
I know it's scary. I've been down rabbit holes
Oh yeah,
over
yeah.
that.
And there are some very serious things going on. Like there's the whole thing that happened with Israel and the nukes getting destroyed over Israel and stuff like that. It's just it's a big money game. And I think because all this stuff costs money, I think all these countries that are really starting to attack each other are trying to deplete the other countries' money. But at the same time, once these bombs start hitting, who else is going to start launching bombs? And then it's just going to be a big old mess, and lots of people are going to unalive. So
Right.
I don't know. It's scary. I don't like thinking
That
about
is
things
an
like that.
interesting thing to think about, though. That's a good topic to keep, like, I don't know, just keep researching and see what happens, you know?
It's those, everybody wants to make fun of the doomsdayers and the people that have bunkers and stuff like that. We're kind of hitting a time where that might not be a bad thing. You might want to have
You
one.
know, I think that everyone needs to have an emergency supply of certain things. Like, I always make sure that I have my food that's like in the refrigerator and stuff like that, but then I make sure that I have stuff in case something happens. You know what? COVID made me start thinking like this.
I have things in place in case electricity goes out and phones go out and all that stuff, because that would probably be
Right.
one of the first things to get hit. I don't know. All right, guys. It has been a great one today. Thank you, everyone, for being in here.